It's a way of showing our partner how important they are to us, how important our connection is to us. It's a way of showing ourselves how important it is that we're willing to make that effort, to carve out that time, to save energy, to prioritize each other. Hello and welcome to the Pillow Talks podcast. We're your hosts, Vanessa
and Xander Marin.
I'm a sex therapist with over 20 years of experience.
And I'm just a regular dude. We share the ups and downs in our relationship while giving you step-by-step techniques for improving yours.
Make sure you subscribe for your weekly double date full of totally doable sex tips, practical relationship advice, hilarious and honest stories of what really goes on behind closed bedroom doors, and so much more. It's the sex education you wish you'd had. Today we're talking about one of my favorite controversial hot topics, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to try to change your mind about it.
Great, let's go.
Not your mind, the listener's mind.
Let's go with that.
We're talking about scheduling sex.
Bum, 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 bum.
Most people hate the idea of scheduling sex.
The horror.
I think it sounds very cold and clinical. It feels like an admission that your sex life is officially dead.
It's portrayed so negatively in many movies and TV shows. Like, you know, the older couple with like, you know, kids in high school or whatever. And like, you know, they're like putting the like little dot on the calendar or something that means something else. And the kids are just like, oh, guys, come on. Like, it's such a played out joke that I feel like, you know, it's one of those ones, it's like a cheap joke that can be made in like any kind of like teen parent type of TV show without any explanation or any effort going into it. And that's how much you know that this is an issue that runs really deep.
But we think that scheduling sex can actually be fun, sexy.
Oh, yeah.
And a good thing to add into your relationship.
But it doesn't have to look the way that you think it does.
Yes.
Am I putting the cart before the horse there?
Yeah, no, we're going to get into it, dive deep in this episode. We're going to talk about all the myths, the misinformation about scheduling sex, and we're going to walk you through step by step the right way to schedule sex. And I hope by the end of this episode, we will have fully convinced you. Okay, but before we get into that, we have to share a little update with you. We are launching something brand new this year. We've been doing a lot of thinking about what makes our approach to intimacy and relationships unique. And because we're always trying to come up with new things, to refine our offerings, like we're always trying to improve so that we can help you improve in your relationship. And one thing that we keep coming back to over and over again is fun. Helping couples have more fun with each other in and out of the bedroom.
And really keep that spark alive.
So we're launching something that is going to help you do just that, but in a really easy, sustainable, doable way. We're talking very simple. So what we're going to do is every single month, you will get an emotional intimacy date night and a physical intimacy date night. So we're going to tell you like exactly what to do on your date nights. I think most of us, like, we want to have date night more frequently. We want to have sex more frequently. We want more exciting sex, more interesting date nights. But a lot of us stall out at like, I don't know what to do. Like, I guess back to that same little Italian restaurant that we go to every time.
Yeah, people want inspiration. They want ideas. They want just a little nudge in the right direction.
And sometimes it takes a lot of time and effort to keep thinking of new things. We're like, let us do the work for you. Yeah. This is like a intimacy concierge service.
Yeah, it is.
So every month you will get an emotional intimacy themed date night, a physical intimacy themed date night. You're also going to get a sex position of the month. So every month you'll get a new position to try out with detailed instructions of exactly how to do it. And you're going to get connecting questions to ask each other at any point throughout the month. This is another thing that I think feels so embarrassing in long-term relationships. Like when we manage to have a little bit of quality time together, we're like, so how was your day?
The weather, man. It's weathering out there. It's cold.
What do you want to talk about? Right? So we're going to just give you questions that you can talk about with each other that are going to evoke like deeper, more meaningful, more playful, more fun conversations.
Yeah. And I mean, it can end up being that it's a short conversation and it's just something you do on an ongoing basis to, make sure that you're staying connected. But what we often hear from most people with the types of conversation starters that we like to give is someone goes, yeah, this looked like a really simple question. Mm-hmm. And then we started talking and we started uncovering more and more. And we got into a much longer and much deeper conversation than I would have thought given what the question was. And I think that's really what it's all about. And it's not like, it's not that every single day you need to be having these super duper deep conversations with multiple layers, but it's really nice sometimes when that happens. It's nice once or twice a month that a little conversation prompt turns into a little something more. And that's really what the idea is here. Some of these are going to hit. You're going to talk for 20 minutes about something and be like, oh my God, I didn't know that about you. And some of them are just going to be quick little check-ins. But, the idea is just that we keep the conversation going because you never know when it's going to go deeper.
And the best part is that it's going to be $9 a month. Like, we wanted this to feel like such a no-brainer, such an incredible deal. We know a lot of people are feeling financially just like self-conscious right now. And so we wanted it to be really accessible to as many couples as possible. I mean, $9 a month, that is it. And we will do all the work of keeping the spark alive in your relationship. Well, not all the work. You have to do the actual things, but we'll do a lot of the legwork in helping set you guys up for success.
We're going to put all the pieces in front of you. Then you gotta move them on the board, so to speak.
But we do need your help. I will be honest with you guys, historically, we are not great at naming things.
We aren't. We have a poor track record.
So we need your help with naming what this is going to be. So we have 4 names. We're going to put a poll up in Spotify, or you can also come over to Instagram at Vanessa and Xander and DM us. You can vote on the names. If you have a different name that you think we should do, you can DM us that. If we pick your creative name, we'll give you some little prize or gift. But okay, here are some options. The flirty and dirty drop, the spark, just plain and simple, sweet and spicy, or the tease. So take a vote, but it's we'll put the link to check that out in the show notes. We are super excited about it. This is something that we're going to do ourselves. Like, this is something I've wanted in our own relationship for a long time. So we are very excited to launch this. We cannot wait to see you guys join it. So check out that link in the show notes. Okay, so let's get into the myths about scheduling sex.
So I think number one is the big one. The number one objection most people have once you start even beginning to mention the topic is, well, but shouldn't sex just be spontaneous? Or like, oh, I just want it to happen spontaneously.
Yeah, I think most of us have this idea that sex is supposed to be spontaneous, that if you're with the right partner, if the chemistry is right, like, it's supposed to be. And if it's not spontaneous, then something is wrong. But here's the thing. Think back to the beginning of your relationship. When you're dating your partner, what are you doing? You're scheduling dates with them, right? Mm-hmm. And once you start being intimate with your partner, when you're scheduling dates, you're gonna have sex those times that you're seeing them, right?
Yeah, and you're gonna be pretty excited about that, right?
Yeah, so we've actually been scheduling sex from the very beginning of our relationship. We just didn't realize it.
Yeah, like, nobody starts dating someone and then goes, oh, we should get together this weekend. And the other partner goes, yeah, let's see if we run into each other.
Yeah, let's see if we just happen to run into each other. Like, I don't want to have to plan for that.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not really big on planning, getting to know you or starting to get intimate with you. I really don't like that. I'm only down for this relationship progressing if it spontaneously happens. Like, if you heard that, you would be like, red flag, I'm out.
Exactly.
Unmatched, right? Like, come on, people. So why are we doing that in our everyday lives? I think the really interesting thing is that if we look back at those early days of the relationship, it's not that you were having spontaneous sex. You were having exciting sex. And I think that we start to conflate those two things. We start thinking, oh yeah, well, I want it to be spontaneous, but what you actually want, I just want it to be exciting. Mm-hmm. And yeah, sometimes when things happen spontaneously, they are exciting, but sometimes when things happen spontaneously, they're a complete disaster, right? Like just because, to have something exciting, it absolutely does not have to be spontaneous.
Yeah, I think the best example that comes to mind for me is like a trip together. Like, sure, it might be fun for some people in some instances if your partner said, pack your bags right now. We are leaving.
In an hour.
We're going on a trip, right? Like that could be really exciting. But I think the vast majority of people in the vast majority of circumstances would rather have a heads up about that. They would rather have a chance to plan it, to figure out all the details of it.
To request time off of work.
To get the kids a babysitter, right? And not only that, but there's also something about the anticipation of that trip. I think for so many of us, the anticipation of a trip can actually be even more exciting than the trip itself sometimes. It's like you're counting it down, you're thinking about what's coming up, like you're building up that anticipation, that desire for it.
I mean, there's actually research that supports that. Like, this is kind of crazy. Like a crazy twist I'm about to give you. But there's research on that, looking at people who are gambling slot machines, like in Vegas. And you're looking at dopamine levels. And your dopamine levels are actually highest right before or as you are pulling the crank or whatever. That's actually an old school thing. I'm pretty sure all slot machines, you just like hit a button, right? But it's your dopamine levels are highest when you are right about to hit the button or crank the thing or whatever. It is, and they are higher than when you actually win a jackpot, which is wild. Like there's the getting the reward and then there's anticipating the reward. And crazily enough, people's dopamine levels were highest in the lead up to winning, not the actual act of winning itself. So that is something to consider, that the more we think about something, the more we anticipate something, the more overall enjoyment we have of that thing.
Yeah, like going back to the trip example, it's like either way that it gets started, it can be a great trip. I think we need to focus more on like the enjoyment of the activity itself rather than the how it gets started. But I do think if anything, it's going to be more enjoyable in the situations where you've had the chance to prepare for it, to plan it, to build that anticipation ahead of time. And then another thing that I think about is, we talk a lot about how emotional intimacy and physical intimacy are two sides of the same coin. So imagine if we treated emotional intimacy the same way that we treat physical intimacy. So like, let's replace scheduling sex with date night. If imagine your partner comes up to you and is like, hey, do you want to go on a date on Friday night with me? Like I made reservations at our favorite restaurant.
No, I'm just going to wait and see how I feel on Friday.
Or could you imagine saying to your partner, like, ew, we're having to schedule date night? Like something is really wrong with our relationship. No, you would never say that. You would actually look at this as such a positive thing. Oh my God, it's only Monday and my partner's already thinking ahead to Friday. They took that effort to think of what restaurant would I want to go to. They took that effort to make the reservation. We see it as a positive thing. Nobody would ever make your partner feel bad for planning a date night. So why do we get so worked up about physical intimacy?
Well, probably because we're total prudes about it societally. I'm not calling you a prude. I'm saying we have been raised prudish around this, as it's like something to kind of be ashamed of or not to talk about, or it just happens behind closed doors, even though those closed doors are like the closed doors of our house that you are in with your partner, and still you're somehow not able to talk about it.
I mean, really, I think the sneaky truth about scheduling sex is that the people who are so insistent on it must be spontaneous, that's actually often just internalized shame speaking.
Yeah, or fear. Like, I don't want to have to talk about it. I don't have to ask.
Yeah, that you don't want to have to deal with the nuanced, complicated, human, sometimes messy aspects of sex. You just kind of want to like close your eyes and plug your ears and like, no, 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 no. I want it to just happen. I don't want to have to do anything to like put any effort into it.
It's like, I only want to get a new job if someone stops me on the street and literally makes me a job offer. Like, I don't want to have to apply. I don't want to have to do my resume and I don't have to do all the things. Like nobody ever like that. Life doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
All right. And this next one really just kind of leads from the first one, which is, most people that want it to just happen spontaneously will also say, okay, well, thinking about scheduling, it just seems like it's going to take all the fun out of it.
Well, I think we've already addressed a lot of this one in our response to the first myth about how scheduling it can actually create that sense of anticipation and excitement and make it feel fun. But I think scheduling it also removes a lot of the barriers to fun and excitement too. So one really important thing to recognize is the way that responsive desire plays into this. Like for a lot of people who have responsive desire,
i.e. most women.
Yeah, scheduling sex can remove a lot of the pressure that they feel to like have to always be ready or have to respond to a spontaneous initiation. It actually gives their brain time to prepare, to get in the mood, to get excited, to build that anticipation. And also for a lot of people, like knowing the specific times that sex is going to happen, it removes the anxiety and the guilt around having to address spontaneous initiations in the moment. Like you don't feel like you don't have to say no in the moment. You don't have to be like on guard for your partner to initiate. And it can take the pressure away from the partner who usually does most of the initiation to, not have to be the one primarily carrying all of that responsibility on their shoulders. So it removes blockages to fun, and it also helps create more anticipation and excitement.
Okay, but myth number 3, if I have to schedule it, then does that mean I'm not attracted to my partner anymore?
No, I mean, again, think back to the date night example. We wouldn't say that about like, oh, I guess you're not attracted to me anymore if you want to go on a date night with me. Ugh.
God, why? Right? Yeah, why the hell do we need emotional connection, any kind of connection?
I think scheduling sex, it shows your partner that you are prioritizing them. You're prioritizing the relationship. I mean, again, think back to like earlier stages of the relationship. Think about scheduling date nights. Like when somebody makes that effort for you, you're like, oh my gosh, wow. They're like carving time out of their busy life to spend with me. They're thinking about me. They're making plans. Like we feel, we feel excited about that. We feel honored about that. So I think that when we create that space to connect with each other, it's showing our partner like, I still want to have sex with you. I still value you. Our physical connection is important to me.
Yeah, I think that this is so much bigger than most people realize. Because I think one of the most common things that I hear from men who are in long-term relationships is this general, and I'm not saying all men, not saying all relationships, but I think that there is a common experience among many men of feeling like, okay, it seemed like early in our relationship, we were having a lot of sex. We were having great sex. It seemed like my partner really enjoyed having sex with me and wanted to have sex with me. And then as life went on, the relationship progressed, we reached a point where it no longer feels like my partner wants to actively have sex with me. It seems like it's something I have to ask for. I'm doing the majority of the initiation. I'm not ever seeing my partner, or I'm very rarely seeing my partner seeming to want it or be interested, proactively interested in it. And I think that that's one of a real big baseline fear of a lot of men, because physical intimacy is a huge way of feeling validation and feeling just any kind of connection. And I think that so many men have this fear of, oh my God, like, I don't think she actually really wants it. I don't think she actually really misses it. And then, then you start to spiral and wonder, well, so what happened at the beginning of the relationship? Was that real? Was that not real? Was that just an act to lock me down, to get into this relationship? And I think that those thoughts eat away at a lot of men. And combined with, if you're in a situation where the man is initiating almost all of the time, he's getting a lot of no's from the partner, it's just this big fear. Does my partner really care about this? Mm-hmm. And a lot of men will, they won't really realize they're doing this, and they'll do this, and this is a shitty thing to do, but they'll stop initiating and be like, and test their partner. Okay, well, how long do we have to go before they say something? How long till they try initiating? Because they want to see that you care. And I think this is the easiest way to show that you care. Hey, this is so important to me. I want to make sure that we do this at least X number of times a month, X number of times a week. I want to make sure it's on the calendar, and so that we can both get excited about it. Because I always want you to know how important this is to me. Mm-hmm.
We are in the dead of winter, and I am willing to bet you are dehydrated. We all got so freaking dried out and dehydrated in the middle of the winter, which is why we really want you to try Cure. They have 2 awesome products, hydration packs, which are plant-based hydrating electrolyte drink mix, because here's the thing, water alone is not enough to cure hydration. We need those electrolytes. And they also have a plant-based energy drink mix. Both are made with clean ingredients. The energy mix has natural caffeine and also electrolytes. Their flavors are so tasty. So if you're somebody who hates drinking water, you're going to love flavors like watermelon, berry pomegranate. Lemonade is our personal favorite. Not too sweet. They definitely don't taste artificial. Come in really convenient little packets that you can just toss into your bag. We both drink them and really love the flavors. Staying hydrated isn't just about water. You also need electrolytes. That's why we love Cure. It's clean and tastes great. You can grab Cure on Amazon or find a store near you at curehydration.com/pillow. Real ingredients, real hydration. Story time. Last year for Christmas, I bought Xander this sex pillow.
Best Christmas present ever.
We ended up becoming absolutely obsessed with it. And through a series of really funny little coincidences, we actually ended up becoming friends with the couple who owns this company. And we became so obsessed with this pillow that we actually joined as advisors to the company. And we are sharing it on our Instagram. It is literally the first time we have ever promoted a product that's not ours on Instagram. We are that obsessed with this pillow. I know you look at this and you think, could a little pillow like really make that big of a difference?
Can it really change your sex life?
It
yes.
absolutely can. The way that it changes the angle on some of your favorite positions and makes brand new positions totally doable.
And it's like the exact right angle.
It's perfect. And it's beautiful. You can leave it out on your bed. Nobody knows what it is, unlike some of those other pillows that we've all seen, and everybody knows exactly what it is.
Unlike all those other ones.
Yeah. So we absolutely love this. We think every couple should have it. And we can hook you up with a sweet little discount. Head to vmtherapy.com/pillow and use code PillowTalks to get 10% off. That's vmtherapy.com/pillow. Code PillowTalks.
All right, now let's cruise on to myth 4. Scheduling sex just makes it feel like another item on the to-do list.
Okay, 2 things here. How you schedule it matters, and that's what we're going to get into in just a second. If you're scheduling it with a sense of dread, scheduling it the same way you schedule your dentist appointment, like, of course, that's not going to make it very sexy. And second thing is that the sex that you guys are having has to be enjoyable.
Yes.
So scheduling sex is not going to work if you don't like the sex that you're having.
Yeah, it's not the silver bullet. Like, this one thing will completely fix any problem that you have in your relationship. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you legitimately just don't want to have sex with your partner at all, whether it's scheduled or not, that's a serious problem. And that's something to address. There could be some, technique or physical based reasons for that. There could be some emotional reasons for that. But yeah, that would probably be something you might want to do some personal work on figuring out. Why is it that I legit don't want to have sex with my partner? Why is it that I'm not finding any enjoyment in this? Okay, so moving on into myth number 5. Okay, once we start scheduling it, doesn't that mean that we'll never have spontaneous sex again?
Definitely not. I think people see this as so black and white. Like, we're not trying to say that spontaneous sex is a terrible thing that nobody should ever do. Like, it is fun when it just feels like, it just kind of happens in the moment. You both happen to be in the mood or interested or excited. But again, I think it's more about that, like, what we're really wanting is the excitement of sex, not necessarily that it has to be spontaneous. But again, like, we're not trying to say it's one or the other, black or white. And I think when you schedule sex, it helps create this foundation that then makes sex start to feel easier. So most couples will tell us once we started scheduling sex, we actually also started having more moments of spontaneity where, we had sex at a time that it wasn't planned for us to have it. So especially for couples that if you're in a dry spell, if your sex life has just felt disconnected lately, I think scheduling sex can be a great way to bring that feeling of excitement back into your relationship and your sex life.
All right, so we've kind of talked through all the major myths or the major objections that people have to scheduling. So I guess let's get into actually how do you do it in the right way?
Okay, so first of all, pick your scheduling type. So here's where right off the bat, a lot of people get it wrong. We think of scheduling in such a rigid way, like it has to be, okay, it's every Tuesday night from 8:45 to 9:03 p.m. Like we get so technical about it. But there are actually a lot of different ways that you can schedule. So here are just some of the options that you could do. You could agree on a standing day of the week or days of the week. And I think this works really well for people who have pretty scheduled lives in general. Maybe you have kids. It's just like the calendar's crazy. So you can figure out like, okay, we tend to, on Saturday afternoons, the kids are always at soccer practice. They're always with their grandparents. So Saturday afternoons are a really good time for us. Or maybe it's like Wednesday nights or whatever. So that could be one approach to it where you're picking specific days and that's just like your day of the week or days of the week.
So the great thing about picking a standing day is that there's some flexibility there. If you know that there's a specific time slot or time range that's going to work best, you can agree, okay, yeah, it's going to, it's probably going to be like after 8 p.m. or between 4 and 6 p.m. or a very specific time. Or if you are not super duper scheduled and you do want there to still be a little space for maybe some openness or maybe a little bit of spontaneity, it could just be, hey, it's, this is the day that we expect sex to happen. And it's kind of open for one partner or the other to initiate at whenever they want throughout the day.
Okay, a totally different option, and this is actually something that we're really doing in this season of our relationship, is have a little conversation about it in the morning about like, do we want to have sex today? And if so, what's the best time for us to have sex? Or what do we need to do in order to clear the space and the time for us to have sex? So yeah, we don't have like certain days of the week that we are committing to doing it. We tend to have like a little check-in in the morning. So there's still an element of like planning and putting effort into it, but it doesn't feel like super, super scheduled to us. It's more of a conversation rather than like a specific schedule.
Yeah, and that's not to say that's not the only way it ever happens. It does happen more spontaneously or more in the moment sometimes, but very often it's one or both of us being like, hey, I'd love to have sex with you later. When would be a good time? Or it's like literally just, we look at our schedule at the beginning of the day anyway, whether we're going to have sex or not, to get us to remind ourselves of what is happening in that day. And so, yeah, why not also think about when would be a good time? Like, oh, obviously, if I'm going out to dinner with some friends, then probably it would be a good idea to do it before that,
Another option is you could take a look at your calendar on a monthly basis and kind of pencil in what are the best days and times for you guys to have intimacy, versus you could plan sex dates one at a time. Like after you had just had your last one, then you're planning, okay, when do we want to do this again?
Yeah, that first one that you described, I think, we're sort of like looking through the month and identifying, all right, what look like generally good days or good windows and bad windows. I think that could be really great for a dynamic. We hear this all the time where one partner is complaining that the other partner struggles to read the room or is always initiating in inopportune moments. That can be a really great way to kind of be able to get your heads together and identify together, oh, okay, so these are generally good times. These are bad times. That can be a good way so that you both get on the same page. Because usually when one person is saying, that one partner can't read the room, the other partner is not really understanding why that's a bad time. And so being able to actually sit down objectively, not right in the moment of initiation. If I initiate in a really bad time, if Vanessa's like, oh God, how dare you? Now let me teach you why this is a bad time to initiate. that doesn't feel like a good conversation. But if we sit down at the beginning of the month and look at our schedule, then we can talk through, oh, okay, yeah, a day like this where I'm scheduled this much, it's really hard for me to even start thinking about intimacy. But a day like that where I have some me time and blah, 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 then I'm much more open to it. And so I think that's a really great way for both partners to be able to talk about when feels like good times for them.
Okay, another tip, which actually maybe we should have shared first, is to just change the freaking name. Like, if you're somebody who gets really triggered by the phrase scheduling sex, don't call it scheduled sex. So you could literally just say, like, we're planning for sex. You could call it intentional intimacy. I like that a lot because it's conveying, like, we're trying to be intentional about this because it's something that is important to us. It's something that matters. You could simply call it date night or sexy date night.
It's like going back to the beginning of the relationship where, yeah, if we're going to go out on a date, we're probably going to have sex. The only thing that I would suggest, was we always talk about fuck first, is when you're in a committed relationship and there's no, and there's no question of will you or won't you have sex. It's like, yeah, we're in a relationship. We do have sex. Have the sex before the actual date night, like if you can. Obviously, when there might be logistical reasons why that can't happen, but, trying to prioritize the physical intimacy before something like a date night where you might be out late, you might be eating or drinking in ways that might make you not feel super sexy when you get home. I think that is so important. But yeah, I mean, that just brings it back to that, before the early times when it was like, oh yeah, we're going on a date night. That means we're going to have sex too. Something to get excited for.
Or you can even just come up with a different name for it, like something that's an inside joke between the two of you, something like makes it feel special between the two of you. But yeah, even just like we don't use the phrase scheduled sex in our own lives at all. Like it just, yeah, you don't have to use that name if it doesn't resonate with you. And I mean, it doesn't sound very sexy. Yeah. So just change the name.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even call what we do a specific thing. I would just say we prioritize intimacy and we talk about it. We talk about when we want to have it before the moment when it feels like I have to have it. And we talk about it and we make it happen.
Okay, next tip is to schedule quality time too. So like I said earlier, we talk about emotional intimacy and physical intimacy as two sides of the same coin. We think they're both equally important. And the reality is most couples struggle to carve out quality time for each other too. So we can schedule that as well. So I think scheduling quality time, whether that's date night or even something more simple, like we're just going to go on a walk around the block together, or we're going to put our phones down and have a real conversation. Like when you schedule that quality time, it reinforces that we're scheduling things because we value each other, because we want to make sure that we have this time with each other. And when you're scheduling that quality time, then it makes scheduling sex feel easier too. It's just you've kind of taken a lot of the negative view of scheduling away.
Yeah, I mean, just schedule more stuff for the two of you. I think that's the huge thing that so many of us miss. We schedule literally everything else in our life. We have, a work calendar. We have, the calendar for our kids, for activity. We put trips on the calendar. We put all these things on the calendar. And the one thing that we so often forget to put on the calendar is the relationship stuff. And at the end of the day, like your relationship is like, I would argue that should be your number one. It's like the oxygen mask. Like we get into a relationship because we don't want to do this life alone. And obviously we, most of us, not us, but most of us have kids and we have a family. But I think, the oxygen mask thing is so important. Like we can't, we can't show up our best in a relationship unless we put our own oxygen mask on. And I think that most parents in long-term relationships would agree, like we can't show up best for our kids if we are constantly fighting, if we are not in a good space together. So why not also plan this stuff? I think so many of us, we get so overly scheduled with our kids and we forget to schedule ourselves. And then we feel like we're strangers. And we feel like we're not showing up for family in the way that we really want to. So,
yeah, like if a stranger was to take a look at their calendar, what would they think you value in your life? What would they think is important to you?
Yeah, most people, if I'm taking a typical person with kids a stranger objectively looking at the calendar would be like, okay, so the kids are really important. Work is really important. Their friends are kind of maybe important because there's probably like, oh, coffee with Ashley and, you know, dinner with John or whatever. And then they would probably be like, are they in a relationship? I don't know.
So if you're really resistant to the idea of scheduling sex, or if it feels like pressure to you, I think scheduling quality time can be a great intermediary step to take. So you can say, you know, we're going to schedule this time together, and that's all that we're going to schedule. And maybe if the desire for sex happens to show up during that time, or we're both willing to have sex, maybe we will have sex in those moments, but ultimately all that we're scheduling is just quality time. That can be a great first step to take, and we'll share another intermediary step that you can take too in just a minute. Okay, one quick little tip that we have to throw in here.
We already touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, is that if you are going to schedule specific days and times, schedule it as early in the evening as possible.
Yeah, don't do like 11:30 to midnight.
Most couples tend to leave sex until the very end of the night. We somehow have made this link between climbing into bed with, oh, that's time to have sex. But this is a huge mistake. By the time most of us are climbing into bed, we are exhausted. It's game over. We just want to go to sleep in that moment.
Maybe you've already done your whole like facial care routine and it's like, bro, you are not touching my face. I got the expensive lotion on it.
It's such a hard time to get really excited and in the mood to have sex. So prioritize it as early in the evening as possible. Of course, that's going to look different for everybody. We all have different responsibilities and schedules and yada, yada. But if it's even just something as simple as like, we're not going to watch TV until we do this. We're not going to scroll Instagram until we have sex. Like even just that, we're not going to fold the laundry until we do it. Like just that could actually be a really great way to create more time, more energy, and more space for sex. Okay. Next tip is to build anticipation. So, of course, if you're thinking of your scheduled sex dates with a sense of dread, you're not going to enjoy it. But instead, like, we want to start creating that anticipation. Think back to when you first started dating your partner and you had a date night on the calendar. Like you used to get so excited about having that date. You could spend days like counting down when it was going to happen. And then on the date night itself, maybe it was, you know, I'd work out beforehand. I'd take a shower. I'd shave my legs. I'd pick my outfit out. I'd do my hair and makeup. I would dance around to my favorite songs, like whatever it was that used to get you excited to spend time with your partner. Try to do some of those things now. Like ask yourself, what can I do to get myself in the mood before our date night? And you can also ask yourself, like, how can my partner help me get in the mood for date night too? So what were the things you used to do together that would get you excited? Like maybe it was flirting with each other, teasing each other, sending sexy messages all throughout the day. So you think about, just how can we bring that sense of playfulness and anticipation into our physical intimacy with each other. So some other ideas is like some people actually enjoy making a calendar invite. Like you can, put something silly in the name. You can use like funny emojis. Like some people, an actual calendar invite feels really fun. Other couples, it won't. So, obviously this is very individual. But maybe you like writing some like little handwritten notes to each other or sending some text throughout the day. But again, this is just all about like what are ways that we can build that anticipation and excitement rather than treating it like, oh God, it's this thing that we have to do. Okay, our next tip is to lower the bar. So this is another way that we can create like an intermediary step for anybody who's feeling nervous about scheduling sex or worried about that, like feeling a sense of pressure or obligation on the actual like time, the actual date night that you have.
Yeah, I think that this can come up really frequently for people that are in, possibly in a bit more of a dry spell currently, or maybe the way initiation works in their relationship is kind of broken and one partner is saying no to another partner a lot. Maybe mental load is really imbalanced, all kinds of things where one partner is really closed off to the idea of sex, or that intercourse feels like, ooh, it's a lot of work to get there, or like I really am actively not wanting it in many moments, and being really worried. So we could schedule it, but if I look back at my history, I don't have a history of being like, oh, okay, well, on this day I'm going to do it, so now all of a sudden I'm like ready to do it.
Yeah, I think it's so important for us to recognize that sex does not have to equal penetration. In male-female relationships, we unfortunately have this idea that like sex is putting a penis into a vagina, but there are so many different ways to have sex with each other. We don't need to put that one specific act on a pedestal. And yeah, if you're somebody who's feeling nervous, feeling worried about, feeling a sense of pressure, if we expand our definition of sex and lower that bar, it can make this feel so much easier. So one of my favorite techniques here is to create a bare minimum. So you pick one activity that feels totally manageable, like something that you would be willing to do no matter what. You don't need to feel like this super strong sense of desire for it. So that could be something as simple as cuddling naked together. It could be giving each other massages. It could be having a makeout session. It could be like masturbating side by side.
Yeah, depending on what you're up for.
Or even just you keeping your partner company while they masturbate. So basically how this works is that when you are making a sex date, you're agreeing to that bare minimum. So you're not saying we're going to have intercourse, we're doing everything, we're going all the way. You're just going to do that one thing. So it is similar to how we were talking about scheduling quality time earlier. Like when you schedule quality time, you're just committing to spending that quality time together. Same kind of thing here. You're just agreeing to do that bare minimum activity. If you happen to want more, if you happen to want to keep going further, then you absolutely can. But what you are truly agreeing to is just this one activity.
Now, I think the thing with this is that, because I think some people will hear that and go, okay, well, great. So that just means that we're going to have a lot of naked cuddles together and nothing else. But here's the thing. I think that for someone that has this immediate reaction that, ooh, it just feels like intercourse is a really high bar and I'm just not sure I'm going to be ready for that. That is very likely someone that is pretty strongly responsive in terms of their sex drive type. And the thing with somebody who is responsive is when they don't have anything to respond to, in their head, they're thinking, sex, that sounds crazy right now. That sounds like absolutely something that I do not want. Until the moment when they start having something to respond to and all of a sudden their desire fires up. And sex, intercourse, whatever it is, starts to sound really, really good. So really what you are agreeing to is doing something that gives them a good chance of getting their desire fired up, getting their responsive desire fired up, something to respond to. So it's not like I'm not telling you, oh, if you do this, you're going to end up having intercourse every single time. You're probably not. But I think that you are going to have it a lot more frequently, especially if you focus on, pro tip, focus on doing things during intercourse that are going to be as pleasurable, as responsive as possible for your partner. You're going to find your partner being a lot more open to doing more a lot more often because you are giving them what they need in terms of that responsive desire, having something to get fired up with.
Okay, and then our final tip is to take turns being in charge of your sex dates. So ask each other, like, what helps sex feel enjoyable? What helps you feel open to sex, excited about sex? And so those can be super logistical things. Maybe it's like a clean bedroom, the kids being asleep, or they can be like more physical things like I want 20 minutes of a back rub. I want us to like cuddle and hold each other for a while beforehand. It could be like I want to have like a real conversation, feel a little bit of emotional connection. So what you can do is, when it's your turn to plan the scheduled date, like you put that effort into getting those things in place for your partner. You can also take turns taking the lead when it comes to the initiation of it. So even though you're scheduling sex, there's still, like, in the moment, someone has to be like, hey, remember, it's our special night tonight, or whatever it is. Like, you still have to talk about it. So you can take turns doing that. But basically taking turns in that way, it really helps both partners feel cared for. It can help you each feel seduced by your partner, desired by your partner.
Yeah, it can be like the thing I was talking about of, many men being scared that their partner doesn't really actually want to have sex with them. This is a great way to show your partner, yes, this is important to me. I know it's on the calendar. I'm going to show up for you in the same way that you show up for me.
And another fun way to do this is you can even do like king or queen or ruler nights where you are like one person, it is all about them that night. So everything is just about their pleasure, about pampering them, taking care of them. So you trade off with that, obviously.
Yeah, probably not like this wouldn't be like, oh, every week every single time we're trading off, but this is something that people will do like once a month, once a quarter, something like that to kind of like inject something a little different into their sex life.
All right. Well, that wraps up our tips for how to schedule sex in the right way.
Yeah. Are you going to try it?
I know. I hope we have convinced you. I really want you guys to give it a shot. I know that it just has such a bad reputation. It makes people, feel so nervous. But I really hope that we've convinced you that scheduling sex is actually really the opposite of what so many of us think of it as. It's a way of showing our partner how important they are to us, how important our connection is to us. It's a way of showing ourselves how important it is, that we're willing to make that effort, to carve out that time, to save energy, to prioritize each other.
I mean, I might even say, are you willing to engage in intentional intimacy? Don't even say the word scheduled. Like, take that out of your vocabulary. Yeah, take it out of your vocabulary if you don't like it. Do you want to engage in intentional intimacy? If not, why the hell are you in a relationship? I hate to say it. But what are you doing in a relationship, in a marriage? Wow, mic drop, I guess.
And in a real hot take.
Bring us home, babe.
All right, and we will again link for you in the show notes our brand new little special thing that we're offering for couples who want to keep the spark alive in their relationship.
Name TBD.
Name TBD.
Please vote on Spotify. We need your help.
But remember, it'll be that emotional intimacy date night, a physical intimacy date night, sex position of the month, some connecting questions of the month, and all that for just $9 a month. So we'll put that link in the show notes for you.
All right, well, that's it for today's episode of Pillow Talks. Thank you so much for listening. Join us again next week because we release new episodes every Thursday.